All right, what's up, Online Empire Academy? We are here for our live podcast. I'm really excited. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the e-com world, and I'm here with Dean as always. What's up, Dean?
What's up?
And he's not in his garage today, so this is a good start.
Yes, I've become the master of my office slash bedroom. Yet, at least for today.
Yeah. Your kids are out of the garage or out of the office today. I see.
Yep. It's actually just because one of my daughter, who usually sleeps in here during the day, is at Mimi's, which is grandma.
Oh, I thought it was Mimi's Cafe, and I was like, that's delicious too. I will take Mimi's Cafe.
Love it.
Um, okay, so let's hop into it. Okay, if you guys have any questions, please let us know. There is a chat room, so you guys can come in and chat, ask questions if you guys have any questions, especially as we start diving into some of the things that are happening within Amazon. Feel free to ask, because I know that there's a ton of confusion with what's going on, and especially for me, like, I've been super confused. I'm happy to have Dean here because hopefully between the two of us, we can answer some of the questions. But first thing, last time we had talked, I had a horrible situation on eBay come up with. I sold an iPhone. It was my old iPhone I upgraded, and I sold my iPhone, and it just exploded. It's legitimately probably the worst situation I could ever think of. Like, the guy just threw a fit because he's like, hey, it's not internationally unlocked. And I was like, okay, I asked Sprint to unlock it. I call Sprint. They're like, oh yeah, there's a fraudulent freeze on it because we saw that somebody else tried to use it, and it's going to take 3 to 5 business days to get it unlocked. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, you've got to be kidding me. This is the worst thing. Anyway, he gets super mad, and I'm like, hey, okay, it's going to be unlocked in 5 to 7 days. He's like, I don't want it. I'm sending it back. So I'm like, great, there goes $500. Like, this is fantastic. So I had to, by the time that I got it back, the phone was already unlocked. And so I posted up on eBay again. Obviously, I'm going to make my money. So I posted on eBay. It immediately sells. And the guy's going back and forth with me. And he's like, okay, yeah, so this, and this. And then he's like, wait, I didn't know that, because I ended up calling Sprint after that. Come to find out, they didn't end up unlocking it internationally after I asked them. And so I was furious. I was so mad. So when I listed it again, I put, it is not internationally unlocked. Well, the guy didn't read that bought my phone again. It was not the same guy. It was a new guy. He bought the phone again, didn't read. And so he's like, hey, I need a refund. I didn't realize it wasn't internationally unlocked. And I was like, hands up in the air, man. I'm done. Like, I'm never, ever selling phones on eBay ever again. So it's still like, I relisted it, and I have gotten a few hits on it, but I would never recommend ever selling a phone on eBay ever. I would never do it ever again, even though it's
Crazy, man. I would have been done after the first time.
yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of helped me recognize, even like, okay, what am I going to spend my time on? I mean, so much of what we've been talking about lately is like, okay, how do we optimize our time to make the most profits, whether that's the Online Empire Academy or our Amazon and eBay businesses. Like, is eBay really a good platform for me to continue pouring money into? And my wife and I are really looking at, like, okay, is this where we want to spend our time, especially coming into summer? She's worked at a school, and so there's not subsidized income during the summer. So that's really when we kick into high gear with Amazon and eBay. And like, at this point, we're like, is eBay really going to be worth it? And then there's some other things we'll talk about it a little later, but there's some other things that are coming up with Amazon that's like, man, we've kind of got to adjust focus. So pretty interesting stuff.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, it's a good lesson. It's to me, that's the reason why I don't sell on eBay, and it's the reason why I shouldn't say I don't sell on eBay. That's the reason why I don't like selling just one-off items in general. I mean, I'd rather just be, having my replenishables. No, it's cool that you could potentially have gotten a huge margin off of that item, but in the time in the time that you spent and the frustration that you spent, you could have, even during that time, you could have probably called a few vendors, got some wholesale accounts, and started selling some wholesale stuff on eBay.
No, it for sure wasn't worth my time. Like
That
looking at everything that's happened. Like I've lost money at this point. I was talking with Hannah the other day. I was like, okay, my mom needs a new phone. I might as well just give it to her. And she was like, no, like don't give away $500. I'm like, okay, it's not like I don't even know if I can get $500 for it anymore. Like so anyway, I okay, so and this is in no way a political stance, but Trump and Jeff Bezos, the head of Amazon, are going at it, which I thought was really interesting. I don't know, Dean, have you read anything about that?
all I know is like Trump was saying that Bezos was, it was almost like a conspiracy thing against him or something like that.
Okay, well, so I'll post articles in the description of this, but basically Trump is accusing Jeff of running a corrupt business. And the the Washington Post is run by Amazon, and Washington Post is directly attacking Trump. And so Trump is kind of backlashing towards that. And so there's kind of this like, it's interesting because what the point that he brought up was Amazon is evading taxes, and there's all kinds of different tax loops and stuff like that. And I'm looking at this going, okay, it's kind of funny all that's happened, but then on the other end of it, the biggest questions that's kind of in my mind and what Trump had brought up was, does Amazon have too much of the pie?
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at a company who has, is one of the largest retailers in the world. You have Merch by Amazon, which is, Amazon at this point is the second largest retailer of clothing in the entire US. So that's, I mean, you're talking about, they're coming up against Walmart. They're coming up against some of the biggest retailers of clothing in the world. And there's projections that Amazon could be number one in the United States within the end of the year, just in clothing. And Merch by Amazon is a huge opportunity for that to continue growing. Now we have Amazon Cloud, Amazon Music, Amazon Video, Amazon Self-Publishing, Amazon Video Direct, Amazon Private Label Food. I mean, these are all things that Amazon is directly doing. And I think there's some value to what Trump was saying in the sense of like, is there too much of the pie? And this is kind of what I wanted to chat with you in the audience is, do you think that based on everything I just said, and we'll get into some of these topics, there's some cool things happening with Video Direct and Amazon Private Label Food, which is actually a really interesting subject. But what do you think, Dean? Like, do you think that that Amazon is carrying too much of the pie?
Well, this is a very economic, philosophical question. I mean, we are a capitalist country, so capitalism is based around competition while monopolies form, and so it's very to blame a company for essentially becoming very, very, very big and essentially becoming a huge monopoly in a capitalist society. Sorry, I love philosophy just in general. So you're like.
Totally.
Putting me in a very fun place. It's kind of hard to blame a company for doing that. I mean, they are providing valuable goods and services, but at the same time, they are crushing tons of competition. And for them to hold such a huge amount of market share, eventually, it comes to the point where, are they going to provide as much value as other companies could, or are they going to start, is it eventually the bottom line in any type of capitalist society? The bottom line is what matters in business. So, cutting costs, cutting quality, things like that. Something like that could happen where Amazon doesn't deliver as much value, but at least for now, from what I've seen, people love Amazon and they go to Amazon because they find tons of value there in whatever it is. Yeah, I don't know. It definitely is a huge behemoth, in my opinion, of a monopoly. but is it a bad monopoly right now? I don't think so. They're delivering a ton of value.
Yeah, and I don't know. For me, I struggle because I'm totally a fan of, like, build a business and grow your business and become as big as possible. But it is interesting when you start talking about monopolies. And does Amazon have a monopoly? And I mean, they've branched out in so many areas, but yet we're profiting from them branching out. So I don't know, like, how much do I even argue with this? How much do I even touch into this? Because I'm like, I'm profiting from this.
No, that's true. Like, so, well, I'll give you so a good example is with their Merch by Amazon thing that came out. I used to sell on Zazzle all the time, Zazzle.com. It's kind of like a cafe press, pretty much the exact same thing as Merch by Amazon. And you would do your own images, you pop them onto Zazzle, and people will buy, and they would you would make some commission off of that. Man, now that Merch by Amazon has come out, and when they actually move into other types of merchandise, I don't see any way for them to compete. It's not necessarily that they're Zazzle or whatever is going to go out of business, but who wants to buy? Everyone wants to buy from Amazon because it's easy. It's the quality is usually better. But who's going to buy from a Zazzle now? And am I going to sell on a Zazzle when I know that the majority of customers are on Amazon? It's a very weird relationship. But like I said, I mean, is it a bad thing? At least with Bezos, it doesn't seem like it's a tyrannical, like, monopoly. I don't know. Are they avoiding taxes? Every business in this type of society avoids taxes as much as possible. It's just the nature of the way things are, unfortunately. But
Yeah, and I think it kind of, like, for me, I've struggled with that. It kind of touches on the American dream. Grow as big as you can. Like, you can go from zero to a billion. Um,
mhm.
but one of the things that's kind of triggered, I live in very, very Northern California, and in this area, people kind of refer to it as the Pacific Northwest. I don't know whether you would or not. I don't know. But I tend to kind of group with that whole idea. And for me, I look at, like, what Amazon has done for Seattle and what they're doing for the surrounding areas. I mean, I grew up, like, 25 minutes, maybe less than that, 15 minutes from one of their facilities, and they hired so many people in that community. So for me, I'm looking at it going, there is a ton of good that Amazon's brought jobs, a ton of jobs to America. So I'm going, I mean, we're getting this so deep into this right now, but seriously, there's some really good stuff that Amazon has done, but does it branch into a monopoly? I don't know. I mean, it's starting to seem. Okay, Amazon Video Direct. Have you heard about this?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit because I'm not going to do it justice, just trying to explain it. After tasting success with iCloud computing and electronics through Amazon Fire and Kindle, Amazon is looking to disrupt the video content space with Amazon Video Direct. This service will compete with the likes of Facebook and Alphabet's YouTube to quickly capitalize on ad-supported video space. So it's basically for these content creators. Like, I mean, honestly, like, our YouTube page could even go up there. It's a way for video creators, content creators, to get onto another platform. And so, from my understanding, Amazon Video Direct is going to be a space for independent film people to post their films up. It's going to be another place for YouTubers to go and post their content up there. For bloggers to post their content up there. It's a little bit crazy. Like, when you look into what they're about to roll out. I'd encourage, again, I'll post the link on this one. I don't have a ton of information. There's not a ton of information out there right now, but I know that Amazon Video Direct is going to be a game changer if they can do, honestly, I think if they can pay the content creators a enough to keep their content solely there, I think we're going to have a shift. And you're starting to see it. I think one of the things that they're going to roll out, and in kind of the poster child, is going to be the new Top Gear series. It was just released. What the name of it is, and I am so sorry to say I don't know it yet. I'm totally spacing the name of it, but Top Gear was a British television show about, it was a car TV show, so all about cars. But it basically, Amazon was the only network that Top Gear could go to after it got canceled. And because of how they've positioned it, I think they may position it under Amazon Video Direct as like an independent film kind of thing, an independent series. I don't know that it's going to go under Amazon Video. We don't know yet. We're at least to my understanding. So I think that it could be a cool opportunity to kind of showcase what Amazon Video Direct could be. But if all goes as I've read, it looks like Amazon Video Direct could be Amazon's version of YouTube. Which I think, I mean, they already have how many, million of people on Amazon. You just direct them to this page. I think it's crazy.
No, and especially, I don't know, over the last few months, especially when on sites and like Reddit and so on, they've had a lot of YouTubers who had their accounts shut down or for wrongful reasons. They've had there's a content ID type thing that looks for copyrighted content on YouTube, where people were getting scammed out of thousands of ad dollars, and there was just so much uproar on YouTube, and none of the content creators had any recourse whatsoever to get their voice heard. In fact, they had like this, I forgot what it was called, but someone set up this thing where they had you sign up for this app, and then you basically say, okay, I'm gonna allow this app to use my Twitter account, and at a certain point in time, it will shoot out thousands of people's. So like, for example, you, me, and 10,000 other people say at this date, this app will shoot out a tweet from me saying this. So they sent that. They sent thousands and thousands on one day tweets to the YouTube CEO about the whole situation. So it got really, really, really bad. In fact, every time I went to Reddit to see what like new videos and things like that were out, half of them were about how much YouTube sucks. And so there's a lot of content creators who are they want to find another place to go to be able to give their voice. And really, there's no other big player other than, I mean, there's Vimeo, and then but that's more for like independent filmmaking type things. And then Dailymotion, which is a French kind of version of YouTube, but it's huge. It's big. But it's not nearly as big as YouTube is, So
I think it YouTube has kind of had the monopoly. If we're talking about monopolies, I think that YouTube has had that monopoly for a really long time, and I think that Amazon may bring. I mean, they on their site, it says helping content creators and visual storytellers reach millions of Amazon Video customers. I'm an Amazon Video customer. I haven't been super stoked on the content, but I know that they're rolling out some content. I will keep my Amazon subscription purely for the guys from Top Gear coming over to Amazon. So, I mean, that's just me. So there's some huge stuff.
This is where, I mean, could you imagine being a content creator and being able to get in front of buyers like that? All the people who are on Amazon are buyers. They're looking to buy in some fashion or another. So, I mean, it's better to me than YouTube. It's almost like Google versus, when I talk to people about Amazon keyword research using like Keyword Inspector or Merchant Words or whatever versus Google keyword research. A lot of people will say, well, it's this keyword is doing really well on Google, but it's not doing so well on Amazon. And you look at it and it's like, well, it's because people are buying and they're going to be typing in more buying. Like in Google keyword research, you would look for people who are saying like, buy, how much does X cost, or buy this product or whatever, to know that they're really buying, they're looking in a buying mode. Whereas in Amazon, almost every keyword's a buying keyword, because you wouldn't be on Amazon unless you wanted to buy. So could you imagine a content creator when someone's typing in, something like how to cook the best barbecue steak or something like that, and then the content creators thing comes up and it's how to cook the best barbecue steak, $9.97 or $9.99 or whatever, for my full how-to instructional video or whatever it is. I don't know, like it's just ad space, it has ad or whatever. But the point is that you actually have people who are really willing and wanting to buy something because they're already on Amazon to buy.
It's a genius move on their part. Frankly, I look at what Amazon's doing. I'm going, okay, you guys are smart. Like, you know what you're doing. You know why you're doing it. So more props to them. I think it's going to be awesome. I will for sure be testing it out. So hopefully you guys will be seeing a video as soon as I know more about it. I'll be posting about that, because I want to get our content on there. If we're able to get more people exposed to the content that we have, we want to help more people. So why not use this method? Okay, Amazon private label food. This caused wakes all over these groups this week, because Amazon has come out with a few new private label food products: Happy Bellies, Wickedly Prime, Mama Bear, and then there was one other. But basically, it's nuts, spices, teas, coffee, baby food, vitamins, and household items such as diapers and laundry detergent. Kind of shook me up a little bit. I started reading about this and I was like, whoa, there's a big play here, because obviously Amazon's been private labeling. You have your Amazon Basics. That's not new. That's been going on for a while. But now they're getting into private label food.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I coming back to what Trump said. I was like, whoa, like that's interesting, because no longer is it a space for sellers. It's now Amazon is capitalizing on the information they're collecting.
Mm-hmm.
They know what sells best. They know what things people are clicking on, but it's all of their information. They know what sells best. And so if you think that like we find little niches and holes and stuff, we're not the first ones to find it. Let's be real. Like, Amazon knows about what is going to be the top sellers, and they're going to promote their products more than they're going to promote yours. So about this, I thought it was really interesting. Again, great move if I'm looking at their business and wanting to grow a business. Fantastic move. If I'm looking about a competitor, they are the worst person, in my opinion, to have on my listing. So the fact that they're coming in on, teas, coffees, all of this like stuff that's people are buying every day, the replenishable items, it's a little bit intimidating.
Oh, totally. That sucks, man. Because I remember when Amazon Basics came out, a lot of people were making a lot of money off of stuff like that. And it went from yeah, these are the best things to do. It's low cost. You get them for pennies on the dollar, private label wise or wholesale wise. And then Amazon came in and just totally reamed everybody. And it's the same thing with the private label food thing. It sounds like it kind of goes along with your subscription thing that Amazon was going to be doing. Yeah, that you had mentioned a while ago.
Oh yeah, the like automatic subscription or whatever. I'm spacing the name of it, but yeah, it like automatically brings food or whatever to your house.
Totally, because I can tell you right now, like how tempting it would be. Because for us, we're trying to get more into the organics type stuff, and if Amazon had private label organic meat and all this other stuff, where you can just buy it like a subscription of it or whatever, I would totally do it, man. Because it's hard. Because I was looking at, even online, I was looking at, okay, I need to get my milk from this site shipped. I need to get my meat from this site shipped. I need to get my eggs from this site shipped or whatever. And having Amazon all in that one, totally. Well, that man, yeah, that's a monopoly.
It's interesting you're saying that. Hannah and I, my wife and I, have a box delivered to us once a week with organic food, because we're on the same boat. We're like, okay, we want to start eating healthier. We want to start eating better food and locally grown food. And so we found a little place here in town that delivers. They deliver for $1. So
Wow.
you buy their food and then they deliver it to you to your door for $1. And I'm like, heck yes, like absolutely, hands down, I'm in. And then I was talking with a buddy of mine, and he was like, "Oh no, I have everything delivered." Like he's like, "I don't ever go shopping." He's like, Amazon, their food business is my favorite thing ever, because I can have wine delivered to my house, or I don't know if they do wine, but he's like, I can have anything that I want delivered directly to my house whenever I need it. And like he's like, the 1 day shipping is my favorite thing ever. I'm going, if I lived in a big enough area where they had 1 day shipping or hour shipping, I don't remember what, Amazon's testing different things, but like,
No, I with my Prime, I'm like, I do the 2 day shipping on Prime, and
I
sometimes it has come the same day. And I'm like, you just,
for real though, it's I mean, the Amazon private label food, especially for those of you who are in the food industry, start researching what Amazon is going to be selling and get as far away from it as you can. Like I don't know how else to explain that, because I mean, I've everybody's heard the horror story of the people who are making a ton of money on private labeling their own headphones, or their,
card chargers and things like
yeah.
that.
And then all of a sudden Amazon gets on and bam, you're done. So I mean, not to scare anybody, but the reality is there's a gap there that we've kind of got to be looking at and got to be paying attention to. This was one that I came across that not a lot of people are talking about yet, but it's going to be something we need to start thinking about. So come November 1st and through January 1st, the Amazon fee is looking like it's going to jump up to $2.25 per cubic foot. And that's for standard size products, and $1.15 per cubic foot for oversized products. That's almost a 212.5% increase over what their current charges are. Amazon has not yet confirmed that they're going to change it, but there is talk that that's going to happen because they want the best products in for the holiday season, and they don't want your crap in there for the holiday season. So this is really something we got to start thinking about, especially heading into the summertime. We're already there, so we're at summertime. We're coming into buying fall product or getting your fall product prepared. You really need to be on top of it. Like, make sure that you are selling your stuff out, discount it, because if this really does happen, a $2.25 per cubic foot charge is massive.
Yep.
I mean, that's going to take down profits in a huge, huge way.
I don't care. I drop ship. So,
Well, that's what I was going to say is like, it's time to start looking at drop shipping. Like, we've been talking about that for a while, but I know for me, looking at Amazon private label food, Amazon is not going to come up next to a Gerber. They're just not. Like, Gerber will always be a preferred brand because it's a trusted brand. People don't know what's in Amazon private label food. They just don't. So if we're talking about Gerber and doing that, it's better to, I don't know that you could even get a contract with them, but if the possibility is out there to get a contract with Gerber, to either drop ship with them or even wholesale their food, that's a totally different story than dealing with the FBA, their charges on the per cubic foot. I know for me, in looking at what Hannah and I are going to do this coming season, there's no doubt in my mind, primarily what we're going to be focusing on is drop shipping. It doesn't make sense right now for us to get into anything else, unless it's small bagged items, stuff a cubic foot, it's going to take 3 cubic feet, not 50 or 60 cubic feet. It just, I can't even imagine doing that. It wouldn't make sense for my business.
No, it's crazy, man. I mean, this is where I don't know. Like for me, this is where it's I mean FBA was great when it came out. I mean, I'm just from the seller standpoint. I'm sure still all that stuff is going to be great for the consumer, I would imagine. But from the seller standpoint, FBA was great when it came out. But more and more, Amazon's going to do two things. It's going to weed out people who send in just a bunch of crap items and take up their space, and really just not provide value. It's going to weed out the people who aren't really that great at business. I mean, this is what I was telling people, for a long time, is that Amazon FBA, when especially with retail arbitrager type folks, don't get me wrong, it allowed for people who were not good at business or had no business being in business, allowed them to actually have a business. And not saying, and it sounds so rude for me to say that. I'm not trying to be rude. It's just, it was actually a great thing that happened, but eventually a good entrepreneur is going to see the writing on the wall, and you have to see that you either have to get in the wholesale or drop ship, and then find a way to have your own way outside of Amazon to grow your business or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. When I hear stuff like that, it's kind of like, yeah, well, I mean, we've known, I know even back in the day, we were talking about this years ago, that this is eventually what's going to happen. I mean, it's not a surprise to a lot of people.
Well, it makes sense. Like again, we're talking about a company that has monopolies. They've got control over certain areas, and for them, if I'm looking at who is my best producing customer or my best producing salesman in a normal company, they're going to reward those people, and then the ones who aren't helping or aren't doing a good job, they're going to cut them out. So it totally makes sense, but it does start jeopardizing. I mean, I have a garage full of shipments that I've delayed at this point, because the UPC code. I know we talked a little bit about this. I know you did a live show on it earlier this last week. But the UPC code and inauthentic claims for used media at Amazon. I have probably 20 board games I was about to send in, and it stopped me cold in my tracks, because I was like, I don't want my account being shut down. Especially with what I have coming in this next year and what we want to do in this next year. I can't afford for this to be shut down. And it shut me down cold, because I was like, I retail arbitrage, in my opinion, is not going to be a viable option anymore.
Yep.
Because it's again, Amazon can go get contracts with Hasbro. They have no problem with that. Why do they need you going and potentially screwing up that opportunity with them? I mean, we saw it with Amazon or with Star Wars this past year, where they got exclusive rights with Disney. That's a big deal for them to be able to say, you cannot sell Star Wars unless you go through our process.
Yep.
And even then, they found as many people as they wanted, the ones who had good enough sales record, and then said, I'm sorry, you can't sell the rest of it.
Yep. Yep.
Like, why would we not do things like drop shipping, wholesaling, have our own warehouses? Like, you've got to start. I mean, Dean, you put it perfectly. You have to start thinking like a business, which is really uncomfortable for 98% of the people that I've talked to.
Yeah. No.
Hobby.
Yeah, it's a hobby, and it's treasure hunting and things like that. And I know I sound like I know I sound mean when I say it, but it's just it's actually out of caring and love. And like, I mean, this is what because you have to, we have been so immune, and it's almost like the food we eat. I mean, think of the food we eat. We don't even know where it comes from. We don't know how it's made, how long it takes, and what the cost of goods is, and what the operational cost is, and everything like that. The same thing with Amazon FBA. We see the people getting. In fact, I just had a friend who, a long time, he's an Academy member, long time Amazon seller, get his account and his entire family's other accounts shut down by Amazon for an inauthentic claim on one of his retail arbitrage products. His entire family's well-being. The idea that, you know, Amazon is this huge bad corporation for doing that, you have to see it from their point of view too. And whether they're bad or not, I don't know. But from their point of view, they're getting calls and calls and calls and calls, and they could potentially get lawsuits and lawsuits and lawsuits for inauthentic items, things like that. And these are things that we don't see on a normal basis. Now that I'm doing drop shipping, I see the customer a lot more than I have ever seen the customer in when I was doing FBA. So, you know, when you're doing FBA, you just see the returns. You see the returns that come in. You see refunds, things like that. You don't see what the customer actually felt these things, or that you don't see that the customer's pissed off that the game that you sent them, the Spanish version of Monopoly was the 1983 version and not the 1984 version, or that it was a counterfeit version or something like that. Amazon sees this, tracks it, and goes, you know, it's just not worth the risk. So we're going to shut this guy down because he's making, you know, $300,000 a year or $500,000 a year. We'll keep going with these guys who have actual authorized resellers who are making, you know, a couple million a year in sales for us.
I thought it was interesting because my immediate thought as soon as this happened was, okay, I got to jump into wholesaling. I've got to jump into private labeling. Private labeling was probably the most dominant on my mind, and I think that there's a yes and a no to that, because the thing with the UPC codes is if you're getting it private labeled, you've got to now go through a process to get the GS1s. There's
nobody knows if that's true or not. From what I understand, like the Seller Central folks say that you have to get the GS1 barcodes, which are couple $100 a year to a couple $1,000 a year. Some say that you don't, and it's all just a big mess. But it's a very good indicator that Amazon is much more scrutinizing against people who just do retail arbitrage type stuff and online arbitrage stuff.
Totally. Like I don't feel comfortable doing retail arbitrage anymore. I don't. Which is crazy because I've always loved it. I love the treasure hunt, and the reality is, for me, it is a treasure hunt, and it was a hobby for so long, but this is my life.
Yep.
Like, I firmly believe, and why I get up every morning and do this podcast is because I want a way for this single mother who has 2 jobs for her to actually make enough money to stay home and be with her kids.
Yep.
That's my heart. Like, when I think about the Online Empire Academy, and I think about what we want to do and what we want to help you guys grow in, that's who I look at going, oh my gosh, like, that's what I want. I want that woman. I want that single dad. I want that family. I want these people to actually have something sustainable. And that's why we talk about this stuff. I mean, that's why I want to bring this up, because the reality is there's things happening that we don't understand. And who knows, we may all need GS1s eventually. Mm-hmm. And I want to make sure that we're prepared to say, hey, Amazon may not be the best avenue for X, Y, or Z person.
Yep.
Here's another way to do it. Or hey, if you guys do have enough money to go do this rather than this. And that's why we want to do the live show too, is to be able to talk about this stuff and engage with you guys and ask questions with you. In my notes, I have just take a deep breath. Like, for those of you who are freaking out about the UPC codes, take a deep breath. If the product is yours, a private label or manufacturer, if it's yours, as in if you're a private labeler or you're working directly with a manufacturer, whether that's drop shipping or wholesaling, you're fine, because you can register these items with Amazon, or even ask for an exception to have a barcode. In fact, they will give you universal numbers for your unique products through the brand registry. So you can sell them worldwide on Amazon's platforms under that one number. And I will post where this was posted. It was a document all talking about what's going on with the UPC codes. So you guys can read that for yourselves. But that's what we know at this point. Is you're going to be okay. Make sure you're in communication. Make sure that these items are not. Make sure when you're talking to a private label or a company that's willing to private label for you, make sure you're not infringing on certain patents and things like that, because that really can be a problem and end up biting you in the butt later along. So. I mean, both of these, the Amazon food, well, even the raising the fee, potentially raising the fee in the holiday season, Amazon food, or private label food, and then the UPC codes, all points back to the idea that like drop shipping, wholesaling, and even doing private label, obviously, again, make sure you're doing it right, but those are all viable options. Like, these are all things that like you should probably start moving your business to. And like Dean said, move your business to an actual business. Like, start thinking like a businessman, woman, and develop what you need to develop like a business rather than a hobby. Because we're seeing time after time after time again, people's accounts being shut down that are treating this like a hobby.
Yeah.
And that's what I fear for the community most, is like, guys, I love what I do. I love you guys. And I'm building my business as a business, not just a hobby. And for the last 3 years, I've had a hobby. My hobby has been Amazon and eBay. And I'm taking it serious and really looking at what it can do for my life, my wife, my family. And I don't want to get stuck in that.
I love it, man. I love it.
Well, I mean, that kind of wiped out my mental capacity.
Yeah, totally. It's I mean, it's really I actually was just on the phone with someone today that it's just it honestly is a mindset set shift. I mean, I had I was I always look at the kind of what's going on in the academy emails and thing. I had someone who's a longtime academy member who opted out from our emails, who I know didn't want to drop ship. And I'm like, man, they just, they've been here with us for years. And then they just opted out of one of my little survey emails that I put out, see how things are going. And I'm like, man, it sucks, because I know that the majority of their stuff is retail. I hope nothing happens. I mean, but it's like, I can't see myself as I don't care if even we had only 10 people in the Online Empire Academy. Obviously, we have thousands, but if we had only 10 people in the Online Empire Academy, and the reason they were there is because they wanted to learn how to drop ship or wholesale or do something replenishable in some fashion or another, because there's other replenishable ways on Amazon. It's not just those things. Then I would still do it, because that's the, for me, it's building an actual scalable, sustainable business that is what's most important. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's great that you're able to make some extra money, but man, to be able to make money while you are, I mean, the other day I was with my family, and I got an order for one of my little sporting equipment things that was for a few $100. So and what did I have to do? Nothing. I already have software that orders it for me. So anyway, now I'm almost sad, man.
I know, I'm like, oh, but the reality is we want to talk about it, because this is what's happening in the e-com world. I mean, that's why we're doing this, is because we're being diligent and watching the trends in our business. Yep. And we want to help you guys do the same. And I'm really excited. Here's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about the season we're coming into. I personally start planning for the Christmas season now. It's just the way my brain works. I try to work in 3-month increments. And so for me, I'm looking at like, okay, if I want to start going towards I want to prepare my fall season, what am I going to be posting for fall? And then heading into winter, what am I going to be grabbing for winter? What are some of the toys that manufacturers are tracking on right now for the Christmas season? What are things that I'm seeing on Alibaba, AliExpress start popping up? What are things that are becoming popular? I'm following the trends on Amazon. These are things that I'm doing to actively look, and I'm excited because there is a lot happening. I just did a podcast about Bonanza. This is a site that helps you. I mean, it posts, it gives you your own storefront. It's kind of like eBay, helps with your own storefront, but then you can also, it simultaneously will help you post on Amazon and eBay. So, I mean, we're talking about another platform that can help you sell on both Amazon and eBay. And when one sells one place, it takes it off of Bonanza and eBay. So, I mean, for those of you who are doing drop shipping, for those of you who are doing wholesaling, this is a great option. And so I'm really excited. I mean, I'll post links to that as well. I gotta remember how many I gotta listen to this again, because there's a lot of links I gotta post in here. But there's so many opportunities to grow your business, and actually develop a structure around it that can be outside of Amazon as well. And that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited that like there are options that list it on Amazon and another site, and can take it down when one sells on the other. And there's so many helpful things that come along with that. So I'm excited. Like I'm excited for the things that are happening in the e-com world. I have more hope for making money than I did 6 months ago, and that's a really cool idea.
Oh, it's great. Like, because honestly, like even with the drop shipping thing, there, a part of the automation of it, part of the reason why it works is because the automation exists. It didn't exist when I started with Amazon FBA. So, I mean, there's so much opportunity. There's always opportunity. And that's one thing that our goal is to help people to see those opportunities, and not just kind of stay in that status quo of, oh, well, I'm going to do this forever. Blockbuster Video was going to do what they were doing forever, and where'd they go?
Also, every now and again at a garage sale, I'll find a Blockbuster like DVD. I'm like, what the heck? Like,
Well, I was actually driving by and they still haven't put any new store in there, a Blockbuster Video that had been closed for years, and you could still see the sign. I'm like, man, I remember when they owned stadiums and things like that. Now they're gone, completely gone.
And I mean, Amazon's obviously doing what they're doing to grow their business and make sure that the sellers that are doing well are sustained.
Yep.
So I think that there's a better opportunity than ever to actually grow your business and be noticed by a player like this. And instead of doing $300,000 a year, which is, for some people look at it and go, that's astronomical. But if you recognize the opportunity at hand and how many millions of people are exposed to your product on Amazon, $300,000 is realistic, and you can do more than that. And we talk to people every day, and that's my goal. I'm walking this out with you guys. Like, I've worked with massive accounts, and I know the tools that it takes to get there. And so for me, I'm building my business with you guys, and that's what I'm most excited about, is to look at this and go, okay, is it realistic to hit $300,000 in a year? Is it realistic to hit it in 2 years, 3 years? Can I hit $1 million in a year? I don't know. And that's what I'm excited to walk through with this. And I got to put my money where my mouth is, and that's the challenging part. So I'm more excited ever because I know the opportunities are coming.
I love it. It's so cool, man.
Very good. Well, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, all right, let's do this.
Yeah. Well, if you guys have any more questions, we are here. I will be posting this up after we're done. So if you guys have questions, please let us know. This is what we love to do. We love to talk about this stuff. We're passionate about what's going on in the e-com world, and it's our life. So we've dedicated our lives to this, and are excited about what's going on. And if you guys have questions, let us know. Go join the Facebook group. I will be posting, for those of you who are interested in drop shipping or wholesaling or even private labeling, I'll post links about products we know and trust, and people we believe in. and I believe in Dean, and he created the drop shipping course. So I I love that one. But you know, the Slammons are another great one. Who they're kind of the forerunners right now for private labeling. But anyway, you guys can go check those out. I'll post the links as well as the links where I found all this information. So I'll be sharing that with you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, Dean. It's always fun talking with you.
Love it, man. Love it.
Well, until next time, Empire, have a fantastic day.